Work-life balance. How important is work-life balance? We're finding ourselves in times where the demands on life are getting quite high in terms of the expectations that we put on ourselves, that the environment puts on us, and life itself puts on us. And we find we have a lot of balls that we have to jiggle and juggle at the same time. And there's a part in us that says, I can do this. I'm quite capable of managing my life well. And that may be so. And if you are one of those, congratulations. You know how to do it the right way. But what if you are right now feeling like, I can't do this anymore. I'm on the precipice of my life falling apart. Or you are in the group that says, I failed. I actually don't see which way to go forward. And I'm giving up. No matter what I do, nothing's working for me. So if you're one of those, or if you're one of those who says, I'm going to do what I can, but I don't know where to start. So I just want you to hang in here and let's talk about it. I am a life coach who specializes in this area of life falling apart. I help executives and professionals whose work and family life or health is falling apart due to work pressures or other pressures, so that they can regain a good work-life balance. So my question to you is, are you feeling overwhelmed and out of balance? And if so, do you have an idea of where to start to actually put the stepping stones together for you to gain and regain the balance? Or are you struggling to keep up with the demands of work, family, and all your personal commitments? Are you just one of those people who just love living and just take on too much? Are you working too much? Have you taken on too much? So what can we do to reclaim our lives? Because the important part is that you matter and your life matters. And I want you to really just sit back and understand, my life matters. And why is that so? Let's just go there for a little bit. The work that you do has purpose. Even if you do very menial work and you think, my work is really just whatever it is that you don't give it full credit for, well, you are in that position because you have purpose. Whatever you do, you have purpose. And in your family, you are of purpose. Everybody is important. Everybody matters. So I want you just to look at that and say, right, then what is it that I need to do to reclaim my life? Life is a balancing act. And every area of our life is a balancing act. But what do we do when life falls apart? we get to the point where we say, I've got to manage this. And the more we try and manage, the more we try and cope, the more we try and put it all together, the more tense we get, the more stressed we get. And what happens then? Yes, we get to the point where we say, I can't do this anymore. This is too much for me. But it doesn't have to be that way. So I want to give you a few pointers on how you can learn and gain some work-life balance before your life falls apart. And let's see if some of the tips you may know and some of the tips you may not know. For many people, work-life balance is an elusive goal. And if you're the one who just sits here now and listens to me, and you think, all the coaches say the same. And I've tried it, all the psychotherapists, I've tried it, I'm giving up. The demands of our professional and personal life constantly tug us, and we constantly find it hard to find that equilibrium. Yet, achieving this perfect balance is important in order to ensure good health and well-being. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what we want? To have some joy in life, to be happy in life, to just feel like I can breathe again. It's important to ensure physical well-being, mental health well-being, emotional well-being. All three of them are important. So we got to manage the well-being of who I fully am in all areas of my life. So I need to be a well-balanced human in my work environment, but I also need to be a well-balanced human in my private life and in my family life. So if we consciously become aware of the idea that work-life balance is important, even if it's hard to achieve and even harder to maintain. And this is where I'm looking at it. Is it really that hard to achieve it? Or is it just that I need to adjust something in my life in order not to be so overstretched and feel overwhelmed and overburdened? So sometimes we look for answers, and that search for answers makes it even worse, because now it feels like, now I've got even more to manage. Now I've got even more to do. So then we create to-do lists, and we try and manage the to-do lists. And then we start working counterproductive. So the more we take on as responsibilities, the more we feel we struggle and we have to take control of our lives. And we feel bogged down by these day-to-day tasks and obligations. And then my question is it really worth it? Do we really have to do it all? And then come the crisis points in our lives, and then we know, yes, I have to do it. Yes, I don't have a choice. Yes, I just have to go through it. And then it feels like, when can I sit and just enjoy life? Because it feels impossible. When you're reaching that point, I want you just to be aware that this is a time where you need to take extra care and be vigilant. What's going to happen next? Can you manage it all? I had a client last week, and I did a session with her, and she said to me, I should have come and seen you a week ago. I should have come and seen you a year ago. Why did I torture myself for a whole year and struggle without having the answers I now have? Wow, I wish I'd come and see you earlier. And this is what we do. We continue the struggle. And why? We all know the story about the frog in the pot of water, and you put it on the boil, and the water gets hotter and hotter, and the frog just doesn't notice. By the time the water boils, it's too late. And I think this is how it is for us. We cope, we find coping skills, we find more coping skills. And before we know it, we're so used and so ingrained in this hamster wheel that we are on, and we don't know how to slow it down. So one of the things that we need to do is to actually recognize that this is happening. And then we need to recognize, what are my needs? Why am I doing what I'm doing? But we need to do that before our life falls apart. Don't wait until the water is boiling and you can't get out of it anymore. Do it before. It is important to recognize that you're struggling to manage your life and you feel like you're losing control. And how do we recognize that? Sometimes we have a partner who says to us, I'm not prepared to live with you like that anymore. Well, that's end station. Sometimes we have friends who say, you know what? I don't know what's up with you, but we've noticed there's a little bit of a change in you. Sometimes you yourself notice that you're more snappy than usual, or your jobs just take longer to complete. You don't have the same focus. So find a way of recognizing that you are struggling. And it may be not a heavy struggle, but something small, like driving down the road and then, where am I? That's when the focus is off. Or you know that you can complete a job in a certain amount of time, and then a couple of hours later you're still at it, but you're looking at it and you're thinking, when am I going to finish this? So become aware of where the struggles are starting and where you are losing control and where the stress is starting to build up. And I'm going to do a whole series on stress at a later stage. So I don't want to spend too much time on stress here right now. We all know what stress is about. But when you become anxious, when the frustrations become more and more, whether at work or in the family or with friends or wherever, you will notice, I now said something and that's not really me. Often when we have a lot of stress at work, what happens? We come home and we offload it somewhere where we feel safe. And then our family is at that reception of your stress, because you've got to offload it somewhere, and the family is a safe place. So become aware that this is happening. Some of us use medication because we have extra headaches. All of a sudden, we take more and more headache tablets. Some of us come home and we just need that drink of whiskey, of wine, of brandy, whatever it is, just to calm down. And then it's not just one glass, it becomes two or three and more. And it sort of gradually increases. Become aware of these habits that start changing. Those are good indicators that you should look at managing things differently. And I don't like the word managing, because managing means I have to bring it into control. And what happens with I need to control more and more, what happens there is I have to manage more and more, and then it becomes too much, and then we land in the overwhelm. So I don't like managing, because that is hard work. I don't like hard work. I want the work-life balance to be in flow. How are we going to do that? So if you feel like you're constantly juggling tasks, driving the kids here and there, and yourself having too many tasks to complete in a day, when you notice that, try to decide which one is really important and which one is not that important. So we need to prioritize what is important for me in my life. And we have to have an overall picture of what is important, and then slot it down into a smaller picture that is important on a daily basis. But you may have to look at what is important in my work life and what do I need to prioritize in my work life. What is important in my private and family life, and prioritize that. And that should be 80% of your priorities should fall into work and family life, and they should almost be equally split. And then the last 20% is what is important to me. So work is you in at work, family is you and family, and then 20% just me, you, just you, because you matter. So I want you to start making a priority list as to what is really important and why. The why is, for me, is key. Why is a priority important? Because when you ask the question why, you often find that something that you thought was important is actually not as important. And then from your list of your activities that you do daily, choose those that are most important and prioritize them. So this means you actually need to step aside and have a look and analyze yourself and your tasks a little bit from that perspective. So what if things fall through the crack? Things that you thought were important, and then all of a sudden they become less important as other matters come up. So I find that often something that was really important for me today, if I really look at it, is not that important. But then I find that something that I didn't give a lot of priority to does become important. So you need to be able to be flexible on that as well. But that is when things get chaotic, because we constantly up and down and up and down. So that's why I say start with the overall picture, because what fits into your overall picture should slot down into your daily picture. And then your daily priorities are easy and not chaotic. So the thing is, if we have to change, chop and change, all the time, we become disorganized. We're not functional. And it just throws us a little bit out of sync. And that's when life starts falling apart. Don't get to the point where, like some of my clients sit in front of me and say, Sonia, I'm a complete failure. Sonia, I've lost everything. And my heart at that time feels like, I really get you. But I know that I can help you regain your work-life balance. I know that for sure. So that's where I come in. But before we go there, let's look at 5 easy steps for you to gain work-life balance. So just now I said, take a step back and find ways to restore balance in order to prevent burnout. Burnout, stress, these are words that I hear on a regular basis. How can you create harmony between your career and your home life? And that's the question I want you to really look at. So, what are the few strategies that you need to implement in order to make life flow a little easier? So, the reason I want to give you these few steps is that you feel more productive and for your stress levels to be managed a little bit easier. And I said I don't like the word manage, but we do have to manage some areas of our life. Managing it to be in flow and managing it to keep control are two completely different scenarios. So I'm talking about managing to create a flow, not a management to keep control. So I want you to understand the difference between those. So the first part is to say, I have a busy life. And it's busy. And you know what? I don't have to do everything, and I don't have to do everything perfect. That's a big stress. Because we have an expectation that not only I or you put on yourself, but that the world puts on you, because that's the expectation of you. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to say, today, this is what I can do. And I've given my best. And as long as you feel comfortable that you've given your best, even if it's not perfect, just relax on that. It doesn't have to be perfect, and doesn't all have to be done all at once. Because at the end of the day, you need to keep your health factor as your number one priority. So here goes. I want you to have your number one priority is your health. So when I have to be perfect, when I put myself into this expectation and I stress, my body will get ill. You will not be able to keep on managing when your body says no. And I want you to listen to your body. And again, I know it's difficult because we get so used to this treadmill that we actually don't notice. And we don't listen to our body. We don't notice that we don't get out of bed with the same joy every morning. We don't notice that our appetite goes either up or down. We don't notice that we often miss meals. We don't notice until we can't fall asleep at night. And we all know what that means. No sleep, no even workflow the next day. Or our immune system starts breaking down. And then it's a case of you get ill more often, you have to manage different disease factors. How's that working for you? Or your body says, time out, let's give you a heart attack so that you can really take some time out. How's that going to work for you? So don't let yourself get to that point. Let's manage it and let's contain the damage that we do when we are not aware. A frog in cold water is a happy frog. A frog in hot water can't move. So I want you to just imagine yourself being the frog in cold water. So cold water is healthy for the frog. What is healthy for you? I then want you to create time for yourself and schedule leisure activities on a regular basis. So a good thing is to actually schedule your holidays for the next year in advance. Your long holidays, your medium holidays, and your short holidays. Because you need at least 1 to 2 long holidays a year, and then a couple of long weekends. And then you also need to schedule in leisure time on a daily basis. So that leisure time can be walking a dog, going to the gym, going for a massage, whatever you choose to do on a daily basis to have some leisure time for yourself. It is important. Or you can say you're going to meet some friends for coffee, whatever, but schedule in daily leisure time. Or weekly, take a half a day off a week for leisure. But you have to set aside time for yourself each day, free from work and free from family-related obligations. And then you can say, Sonia, where am I going to fit this into my day? I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm on the go until I fall into bed. My point exactly. You don't schedule it in. And I wonder what would happen if you just start with 10 minutes for yourself. Come on. Be fair to yourself. Schedule in to your diary your daily leisure time. 10 to 20 minutes minimum. Do it now. The next thing is to set up clear boundaries between work and home. So a lot of us are now working remotely from home. So that makes it even more difficult because our workstation is at home. So how can we manage that in a good way? So I want you to look at how are you going to schedule your family time and your work time. So if your normal work time is 8 to 9 hours a day, that's your work time. And you schedule it in. So maybe in the morning you have family time from getting up in the morning till you start your work. You have family obligations, getting kids ready, getting yourself ready for the day. And that is time for family. You got to do that. Maybe you've got some gym, going into gym, doing some exercises in the morning. That's part of that morning schedule. So get a good morning routine, which is really important. Having a good morning routine and keeping to that sets you up to be ready to start your work. And then you need to let the whole world around you know, this is my work time. Unless it is a real crisis, I cannot be disturbed during that time. And then you have to keep to it. You have to keep the schedule. It's not time to set up coffee dates with friends. Work time is work time. So keep that really, really strict and scheduled, because then you're focused. Then you're completely engaged. You are present. And when you're present in your work time with only focusing on your work, you get a lot of work done in that time. And then family time again after work. When you have completed your work schedule, it is family time. What does that mean? Especially when we work from home. It means closing your laptop, shutting down your computer, and this one sneaks up on us, the telephone. You know, this magic device where we can answer emails on it or go onto Facebook, and that's sort of become our next mode of addiction. Leave that in your workspace. Unless you have a very good reason and you have to schedule something during your family time, you take it, you have to discuss it with your family. If it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour that you're taking from your family time, you need to reclaim it from your work time. Don't cheat your family time. Don't cheat yourself by working instead of 8, 9 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. Then there's no family time. So I want you to clear boundaries between your work and your family. Be gentle with yourself. You deserve it. Your family deserves you to be there fully and completely when it is family time. And that time is not where you sit back and now you have to relax. And now you have to take time for yourself. That time is scheduled separately. So I want you to have clear boundaries between your different commitments. That makes it easy. It also means that if you're working from home, you must have a designated workplace that is understood, where nobody can just come in and out as they please. And discuss with your family time exactly what they need from you and what you can give them during family time. It's really important. So, physical activity, I believe in it. It's really important because for your mental, emotional well-being, physical activity is good because exercise releases endorphins that can help boost your mood and reduce stress levels. So my suggestion is to maybe to split between work and family, use exercise to have a downtime, to reduce your stress levels. Because if you go directly from work into family, where do you think all your stress levels are going to be offloaded? In your family? And they don't know how to cope with it. So it's not for them to cope with your stress levels from work. So that's a good time to do your exercise. Another good time to do exercise is before work, especially if you struggle to get out of bed, and exercise. That's really good because then it is getting out of bed, getting your body motivated and active, and then go get your rest of your day done. So it's up to you when you want to do your exercise, but try and get it in, schedule it in right now. And then connect with family and friends because it's beneficial for your emotional state. And it helps you through difficult times when you have good communication. So have the leisure time, some leisure time for yourself only, but some leisure time with your family. And I spoke about that right at the beginning, how important that is. And then you may say to me, you know what, Sonia, I've tried it all. Everything you say, nothing works. All right. There is an easier way. And I call it my silver bullet solution. So if you want to know more about my silver bullet solution, click and make an appointment with me. Below this video, there is a link where you can set up some chat time with me. I call it strategizing. So let's strategize and see. Costs you nothing, you have nothing to lose, and maybe something in you will just shift in the right way. So why don't you do that? Do that right now. So what is my silver bullet solution? It is the solution I have to help executives and professionals to regain their work-life balance in 90 days or less. So you may say 90 days is a long time. You know what? How long have you struggled? So maybe we do need 90 days. Maybe we need less. That depends on where you are at in your work-life balance. So the key is that I get you into work-life balance as soon as is possible. I will do my utmost to get you there ASAP. But that's up to you. I can do so much and you have to do the rest. So your commitment to getting that balance will actually be the deciding factor on how quickly we're going to get you there. And then you may say, oh, Sonia, I've done everything. Well, let's see what the silver bullet can do for you. And we decide that in the strategy session. There may be a situation where I say, you know what, this is beyond my abilities and you need to find another professional. Or I can say to you, this is in my abilities and this is how we're going to do it. So setting up the strategy session really allows you to make the choice for yourself. Also, the silver bullet that I'm offering is not a long coaching strategy or where you have to do a lot of work by yourself. Every session is a session where you will have an instant result, where you feel instantly motivated to take the next step. That much I promise you. I guarantee you that after every session, you will have a good outcome that will energize you to do the next step. So it may be a little bit of a step-by-step process, but every step that you take will be a step in the right direction to gain work-life experience, work-life balance. So not long hours, not many hours, not a lot of time. So you need to take the first step, and then we take it from there. How's that? What if you feel, I don't need help? I'm not the one with the issue. My life is out of balance because everybody around me is out of balance. So let's have a look at that. The issue of awareness is not a singular one. It's not singular to a person, but it's a collective responsibility. So let's look at it. If I am frustrated, what is that frustration doing around me? And then I hear you. Yes, I hear you. If so-and-so hadn't done X, Y, Z, if they had just done their task on time, I wouldn't be in the stress. I get you. But what happens outside of you still needs to be your responsibility to handle. At the end of the day, you are at the center of all your experiences. And so maybe it is not just the others that have to change. Maybe something in you needs to and wants to be looked at. We also need to look at your life matters. And when you and I get together, you are the most important person in my life during the time that we are together. But we need to also understand that everybody else's life matters too. Everybody has a purpose. And everybody's well-being is just important as yours. Your well-being is important to me. But everybody else's well-being changes when your well-being changes. Just as your frustration or others' frustration frustrate you, when we focus on well-being, then that also has a good collective effect. for the mental, physical, as well as emotional health. So when I hear that I don't need help, I can do this by myself, my question is, what is it that you struggle to really look at? Because it takes courage to look at the things that we don't want to visit. And I know, why don't we let bygones be bygones? What if that coping mechanism that you built up over the years, that managing, is just not working for you anymore? So the key is, yes, the silver bullet will help you to let the bygones be bygones and not to be triggered by them anymore. That's the key. How are we going to do that? But it takes courage. It takes courage to ask for help. And it takes courage to ask somebody for help and be willing to accept it. It takes courage. I get you. I want you to ask yourself, are you aware of how your actions and reactions affect the people around you, especially those that you love? Are you aware of that? Because it's crucial to recognize when we're struggling, to take the necessary steps towards self-care, because it does start with self-care. When you are frustrated, you are not taking care of yourself. You are exploding from yourself, but that's not taking care of yourself. And then the glass of whiskey, the glass of wine, they help you to suppress your emotions, to cope in the moment, but they don't help you to let the bygones be bygones. And I can help you to let the bygones be bygones. So why don't you just check in with me? There is a link down there. What do you have to lose? Set up a strategy session with me and we can take it from there. What if you can say to me, you know what, I just can't be bothered. I've got too much to do. I've got so much on my plate. I can't just fit in anything anymore. I hear you. I used to be like that as well. So when we are so busy managing our own issues within everybody else's issues, it's difficult to take time to reflect. It's difficult to understand our own emotional needs because we're so busy with just managing life. So issues then become a personal challenge. But what if we shifted our thinking to recognize that external factors are often at play? And we know they are, but what is it that we can do to allow the external factors just to be what they are and not make them our personal challenge? How can we do that? That's part of what we're going to strategize on. At the end, emotions are complex, and there can be a lot of outside environmental issues and influences that lead to an issue of our concern. And understanding our own emotional underlying causes and health problems, and accepting that we may not always be the one with the issues. We're not the only ones with the issues. So let's see if we can help you to look at your issues in a healthy way so that you can heal and grow from them in a good, positive way. So instead of blaming ourselves for how we feel, we can gain a new level of understanding that helps us become aware of potential triggers. And this is the key, is if we become aware of potential triggers, then we can look at them and we can say, wow, do I need to engage in this? Or can I see what is happening and I don't have to carry it? It's not mine. And leave it where it belongs. So that is part of the strategizing that we then work with. So the key is to pay attention and to shift our behavior. And we can do that when we know how. So I want you to remember that addressing our emotion doesn't mean putting blame on ourselves. It means taking accountability for how the outside influences and impacts us. And when we take accountability, we look at it and we can say, this is my part that I can give, and this is my part where I'm disengaging from. And when we can do that, we live a much healthier life. The next one is the one that really is at the core of the reason why you maybe do not want to ask for help. And that's, I'm weak if I ask for help. I know. I've heard that one. Not once, not twice, numerous times. So when faced with a difficult challenge, it is common to feel overwhelmed and vulnerable. But we don't want to acknowledge that vulnerability. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not vulnerability. I am the person that everybody looks up to. And when I am vulnerable, what am I setting up? Then they see I'm weak. Then I'm not a leader anymore. Wow. So the idea of asking for help means we are weak. Is that true? I think this thinking is misguided and unhealthy. That's my personal opinion. Personally, I believe that asking for help is a sign of strength. It takes courage and resourcefulness rather than weakness and inadequacy. If I can address my vulnerability, and from that vulnerability, from that weakness, perceived weakness, I can find a new strength. Isn't that a win-win? So it is crucial to recognize when we are struggling and take the necessary steps towards self-care. So my question is, why don't you just give me a call or just fill in a strategy session with me and we take it from there? I look forward to meeting you on our strategy call. And if I can help you, I will let you know I can help you. And if not, then what have you lost? Nothing. I know that you'll gain something. You'll gain an insight. I promise you, it won't be time wasted. Not for you and not for me either. So click that link, set up a strategy call, and I'll look forward to seeing you very soon. Have an awesome, awesome day. Bye for now.